Hey there, it's Scott Gurian. If you heard my podcast last week, you may have noticed that I said at the end that I'd be back in 2 weeks. So I'm here to say I lied. Well, sort of. I'm still hard at work producing next week's show, but in the meantime, I've got a short bonus episode I wanted to share with all of you. And it actually comes from the Backgrounder podcast, which is hosted by my friend and colleague Paul Brubaker, who interviews fascinating people each week here in my home state of New Jersey. A while back, Paul recorded a live version of his program where he interviewed me on stage about my new podcast and my upcoming trip, and we took some questions from the audience. The conversation ran about an hour, and you could hear the whole thing at Paul's website, backgrounderpod.com, but here's a short excerpt to give you a taste. After I discussed some basic details of my journey, Paul asked me the question many people have been asking me.
You're going to 19, maybe 20 countries. I have to ask, are there places that you are a little anxious about going to?
Yeah, well, we've certainly given this a lot of thought. There is a map in the back. If when you're leaving, you could take a look if you'd like on our website. Our team is called Team. So it's kind of a pun. All the team names have like puns in their names. We're driving through the stands, through Tajikistan and Turkmenistan and so forth. So we're calling our team Don't Understand. And so that
it's
is
all one word.
Yes. So that is our website, teamdon'tunderstand.com. If you don't know how to spell that, I suppose you could go to the Backgrounder podcast website, and he'll link to it from there, I imagine.
Totally.
We will. Do you want me to go through the list of countries?
Yeah.
Okay, so we're starting.
You can do this.
I've been poring over maps the last few months. And a lot of it, especially once you get into Asia, like a lot of people, this was like a black hole in my geographic knowledge. And I'm suddenly learning about, what country's next to which one. It just kind of opened up. I've always liked geography. It was my favorite subject back in school, So we're starting in London, or a little south of London. We're going up, I think, putting the car on a ferry across the English Channel, Dover to Calais ferry, going through a little bit of France, through Belgium, a little bit of the Netherlands, into Germany. We're driving across southern Germany. I think we're spending a night in Cologne. So actually the whole way from London to Cologne, I think that's the first day.
Right. Wow.
And then that's going to be a long day, I think about 10 hours or so. Most of the days we're trying to not drive a full day to leave some time to actually do some sightseeing. And there's some days that, like Istanbul, we want to spend a day to actually, see things.
Mm-hmm.
So Cologne, then we continue across Germany. We go, maybe forgetting a few places. We're going to Prague, Czech Republic. We make our way to, I think, either Bratislava, Slovakia, or more likely through Vienna, down to Bucharest. I think it's Bucharest, and then I think Budapest. I forget.
I didn't study like you did.
Yeah, right. I think it's Bucharest, and then Budapest, Romania. Budapest, Hungary. I'm sorry. Does anyone know? Budapest, Hungary. Right. Okay. Yes. Okay. Then we go into Hungary.
Jeopardy
okay.
now,
Sorry. We go into Hungary. There's this crazy windy road that I've seen it in a bunch of car commercials. It's through the mountains in Romania. It's called the Transfagarasan Highway that we really wanted to drive on. So we're going through Romania on that. Then we go down, I think, a little bit of Bulgaria into Turkey. We're spending, a night in Istanbul, a day in Istanbul. We're obviously keeping an eye on Turkey because it's been a little tumultuous there recently with some bombings and so forth. So we're making sure. We're not going to go to any of the provinces where the U.S. government's remove people. We're, trying to stay away, obviously, from some of the more dangerous areas. But we're keeping an eye. Like all these places, we may adjust our route if we need to, based on the situation. From Turkey, we're driving east into Iran, which I know some people, especially Americans, it seems kind of scary, and people don't know about it. It's interesting. As Americans, you actually have to have a guide you hire to take you through, which in some ways actually makes me feel more comfortable. It's you hire like a tour guide to take you through. We have a whole itinerary planned out, so we're going to see a bunch of like archaeological places, famous mosques, and so forth. So, if we have any questions or anything, we have someone we trust we could defer to, and they'll make sure we follow the laws and customs and all of that. We're going across Iran through a number of different places. We emerge from Iran into Turkmenistan. In Turkmenistan, there's this place that we're driving to. We go through Dushanbe, which is the main city there, and then we go up to this place where there were exploring for oil a number of years ago, and an oil rig actually collapsed into like an underground cavern. and there was natural gas that was coming up, and someone got the bright idea, let's set it on fire and let it burn out. And 40 years later, it's still burning. And so they call this area the Gates of Hell. It's about 200 feet across, and it's this giant fire pit burning 24 hours a day in the middle of the desert. And so a bunch of people on this rally that we're part of, they set the date months ago. We're going to have a tea party at the Gates of Hell. And then from there, Turkmenistan, then we keep driving across Uzbekistan and then down into Tajikistan. There's this crazy road in Tajikistan. It's supposed to be one of those craziest roads in the world. It's called the Pamir Highway. It's going through all these mountain passes there, the Pamir mountain range. And it's basically the only road that goes through this very kind of remote area. Unpaved through the mountains around Tajikistan. You kind of loop around. You're kind of along the border of China there. We go up into Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan,
Kazakhstan, yeah, Borat. Okay.
Borat, yes, you know that one. And then a little bit of Russia, and then across Mongolia. It's going to take us about 5 days to drive across Mongolia, we figure, and then through Ulaanbaatar, which is the capital, and then just north of there back into Russia, the city of Ulan-Ude, Siberia, which is where we finish.
Wow.
So about 7 weeks. Yeah,
it's 7 weeks.
Yeah, I know it sounds like,
but you're under no duress to actually finish in 7 weeks. If you wanted to take 2 months, 2.5 months, you could, right?
Yes, there is. So what they've done, because different people are taking different routes. Some people are taking a more direct route through Russia and Ukraine, and they could make it in as little as 5, even 4 weeks. So the organizers have like a finish line party. Like I think it's every Friday over the course of several weeks. So depending on when you get there, they'll gladly welcome you there.
You are an award-winning journalist. Do you feel like that this is a departure from journalism, or is it a different kind?
What I'm doing is not. I'm not considering it. It's not hard news journalism reporting. It's more documenting my journey through these places. I'm not going on this trip with the intention of covering this serious news story in any place, interviewing people. And it's more just kind of the trip itself, all the planning that's going into it, the encounters along the way. I'll see what I encounter, and maybe I'll find something along the way. But and of course, I need to be sensitive to different countries, what the rules are as far as reporting and so forth. But again, I'm not thinking of it as reporting per se. It's more just like people go on trips and they document their trips with cameras and they take video and everything. I just happen to have an audio recorder. And so that's the way I'm thinking of it.
Why did you choose podcasting and not doing like a video series or something like that?
I mean, that's my background. I have a radio background. I know how to do audio. I can do video kind of sort of. I mean, like anyone can with their phones and so forth.
Sure, yeah.
I could certainly, I have a writing background as well. The last few years I've done both radio and writing. The writing for NJ Spotlight, covering the whole Sandy recovery in New Jersey down the shore. So I could do that as well. I just feel like, I originally started in radio and audio, and I feel like there's so much with the audio medium that you can't necessarily capture with printed words on a page. Just hearing people's voices, hearing the sound on location, it just transports you to a place. Just, from your armchair, where I want to call this the podcast for armchair adventurists. Listening, just hearing the sounds from these places, it really could transport you somewhere in a way that just print can't. And video, I feel like, I'm sorry I'm biased because I'm a radio guy, but I feel like video, it's in some ways kind of cheating. Like you're giving everything away. There is a value to that. Sometimes there's some things that you can't just tell with sound. You need to see the pictures yourself. But I also like, forcing people in some ways to use their imagination. In many ways, it's kind of more intimate. That, once again, was me being interviewed on stage a few weeks ago at the Montclair, New Jersey Public Library by Paul Brubaker, host of the Backgrounder podcast. And that clip was used with permission of the Backgrounder and Direct Audio Media. Paul's a great interviewer, and I'm honored to have been featured among the ranks of some of his other recent guests, including actor Paul Reiser and comedian Paula Poundstone. If you get a chance, you should check out his show at backgrounderpod.com or by searching for The Backgrounder in iTunes or wherever you get your podcasts. And when you go there, you could also listen to the rest of our conversation in episode 68.
Thanks again for listening, and remember to check out my website at farfromhomepodcast.org for much more info on my journey, and for links to follow my adventures on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. See you next time.